In this video, I will go through the basics on how to create a cut and fold book with the pattern being extruded from the book. I usually refer to this as method 1 or positive cut and fold book. The positive in the name comes from the fact that the subject in the pattern is above or in front of the background. In part 2 of the video series, I will teach you another way of creating a cut and fold book by placing the subject of the pattern behind the background. The subject is deeper in the book than the background, and therefore that method is called negative cut and fold book, or simply method 2. To learn about the second method, find the link in the description below, or click on the link in the top right corner. To create any of these cut and fold books, you will need: first, the mark cut and fold pattern table or band template. In the description of this video, you can find a link to my website, where you can find a vast set of patterns. Some of them are even for free. The digital files include the tables and band templates, together with illustrated instructions. Second, a book of the appropriate dimensions. The patterns are designed for books of a specific height and number of pages. You can watch part 7 of this tutorial series to learn how to choose the right book for your project. You will also need a pencil to mark the places for cuts, a pair of scissors for making cuts in the book, and a ruler to measure the depth of a cut. Additionally, you can use a bone folder or another suitable tool for pressing the folded sheet. You can also use some sturdy piece of plastic or metal, like an old credit card or a spoon, for this purpose. In order to speed up your project, you can use other tools. You can find out how to speed up the process of creating your book in part 9 of this tutorial series. Please find the link in the description below, or click on the link in the top right corner. First, decide how deep you want your background to be. The recommended depth is between half an inch and 2.5 inches, or between 1 and 6 centimeters, but no more than half of the book's width. Measure this length from the edge of your book and draw a line parallel to the foredge. Next, draw a second parallel line further inside the book. The first line is also called the cut line, and the distance between the foredge and this line is called the cut depth. The second line is called the reference line. Most of the time, I will refer to those lines just by calling them first or second line, but from time to time I may call them the cut and reference lines. The second line should be not more than 1.5 times the distance of the first line from the foredge. The deeper the second line is, the less the pattern will be extruded from the background. In many cases, it is better if the difference in elevation between subject and background is large. Therefore, you may consider placing the two lines closer to each other. But there should still be some distance between the two lines. For example, the second line can be around 1.1 times the distance of the first line from the foredge. In a separate video, I will explain why it is important to have two of these lines and when you can leave out drawing the second line. Watch part 8 of this tutorial series to learn more. Please find the link in the description below, or click on the link in the top right corner. Here, the first line is drawn at a distance of 3.5 cm or 1.4 inches from the foredge, and the second line at a distance of 4 cm or 1.6 inches from the foredge. The next step is to mark where each part of the subject of the pattern begins and ends on the sheet. For this, you may use either the mark cut and fold table or the band template. Using the band template is usually more convenient than using the pattern table, and it allows you to complete marking much faster than the table. The only disadvantage of the band template over the measurement table is that it has to be printed out, whereas you can still use the table in electronic form. For each mark separating subject and background, you need to make a cut inside the book. In order to ensure that the cuts are straight, draw perpendicular lines between the first line and the foredge, and then cut along these lines. Drawing the perpendicular lines significantly increases the time you spend on the project. So once you gain practice in cutting straight lines, you can skip this point. In many cases, the text in the book may serve you as help to ensure that the lines are straight. After we cut the whole sheet, we obtain pattern parts and background parts. How you fold the pattern and background parts depends on the method. Here we use method 1. We create a positive cut and fold book. Therefore, we fold the background parts completely, meaning as deep as the cut allows. As a result, the crease of the fold overlaps with the first line. The pattern parts have to be folded such that the edge of the pattern parts is aligned with the second line. So the crease of the pattern parts is somewhere between the foredge and the first line. Repeat these steps for every sheet in the book to get the final result. If you decide to use the table, for some patterns you can find the word background in the whole row. It means that the entire page makes up the background and you fold it the same way as you would fold a background part. NailYt book folding instructions also contain a texture. It can be used to decorate the inside parts of the cover which are now visible. Here we covered the basics of method 1, the positive cut and fold book. If it is too overwhelming for you at the beginning, do not worry, you learned a lot of new terms. Just watch the video again or read the instructions carefully. It is normal to read or watch tutorials more than once to understand them, so do not get discouraged. Mark, cut, fold and enjoy your book with NailYt.